Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and there just might be some more SEC slime. Just when the shadiness you believe could not get more shady. It's sufficiently shady here, right? Like, we're not getting scorched by the sun. We don't need more shade. Along comes this. Take a look at this headline. One River files to offer carbon-neutral Bitcoin ETF. Now, you might read that headline and think, well, that sounds kind of innocuous, Moon Lambo. What you getting all huffy and puffy about? Well, here's the thing. Take a look at this tweet from attorney John Deaton, who he wrote the following regarding this specific story. Clayton's SEC disapproved every Bitcoin ETF that applied for one. If Gensler's SEC gives One River approval, we operate in a completely corrupt system. Now, why would John Deaton say that? Oh, that's easy. It's because, look at this headline from CoinDesk. This is from March 29th this year. Former SEC Chairman Jay Clayton to advise One River Asset Management on crypto. So how about that? Plenty to say here, but before we go further, I do want to be clear that I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who makes YouTube videos as a very fun hobby about Ripple and XRP and asshats named Jay Clayton and cryptocurrency in general, but that is all that's going on here. And so this is as good a place as any to start because the SEC, they are a bunch, I shouldn't speak so broadly. There are some at the SEC that give me pause for concern. I just want to be like, there's all a bunch of baby back bitches. And I think that's mostly true when it comes to at least the people that have anything to do with what's happening with the litigation against Ripple. And it's just amazing how isn't it convenient that former SEC chair Jay Clayton, he's swatting down ETFs left and right the whole time he's in charge, right? Not going to consider them at all. It goes after ICOs, maybe some of them, frankly, a lot of them. There was a lot of scammy stuff going on there. So it's not that literally everything that was done was bad, but then he goes after Ripple, and he's done things that, in hindsight, it's clearly been to his benefit. We've said the same stuff. You've seen some of my recent videos where I've been talking about former director William Hinman, who worked at a law firm, then got hired at the SEC as a director. The law firm continued to pay him millions of dollars while he was at the SEC. Law firm he no longer works for, paying him William Hinman while at the SEC. And then when he's done working at the SEC, he goes back to the law firm. They employ him again. Now, what happened while he was at the SEC, though? Oh, that's right. He provided legal clarity for Ethereum, which benefited directly his law firm. Well, how about that? And so now we're seeing this here. The SEC, former SEC chair Jay Clayton, going to, and I remember covering this too, because I was just like, why the hell is anyone hiring Jay Clayton for anything related to crypto? Because you know what, when he went through the whole process of the whole confirmation process, did you know that Jay Clayton wasn't asked one single question about cryptocurrencies? Not one. Now, things have changed, and there's a greater focus on crypto, which is a huge part of why, but like it never was his strong point. If he could have just had crypto not exist, he would have had a much happier time at the SEC. I think that's pretty damn clear. He made it very crystal clear that he was okay with the status quo. And so what happened was he upon leaving the SEC, he became an advisor for One River. And I would love to know how much they are paying him there. But he didn't become some sort of cryptocurrency, expert. But they're a digital asset management. Like, this is a digital asset hedge fund. That's what One River is, right? So then you get this news today. Again, the headline here: One River files to offer carbon neutral Bitcoin ETF. Asset management firm One River has filed for regulatory approval to offer a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund, or ETF for short, that would be carbon neutral through the purchase of carbon credits. The One River Carbon Neutral Bitcoin Trust, as the product would be called, Yeah, that's not a mouthful. Will factor in adjustments to reflect the current spot prices of carbon credits needed to offset estimated carbon footprint attributable to each Bitcoin per a filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. So, to pause right there, I would like to mention this too. This is a clear indication and clear understanding that this narrative about the problems of Bitcoin being an energy hog not going away. Now, I don't think it's going to stop Bitcoin. I personally, I don't think that's but people, even if they don't care about this, it's just for the optics. Look, this is not going away, and so they're trying to get out ahead of us and say, no, our thing's carbon neutral. Look, we got these little energy coin things that offset that everything. And so, through a partnership with Moss Earth, based in Uruguay, the trust would purchase MCO2 tokens, which represent certified reductions in greenhouse gas emissions. And so they never go on to cite, at least in this article, specifically what those certified reductions are, how they're certified. So I don't know, but they're certified. So it sounds really nice, right? And so this is a big deal. If you're Jay Clayton and you got hired to do crypto stuff, effectively to be an advisor, and I wouldn't exactly say you have a strong crypto background, but you sure know some people, don't you? Why is this a big deal? I'm happy to spell it out for you. Exchange-traded funds in crypto, this will be another big deal. In fact, you can think back to what happened in, I don't remember exactly, I believe it may have been the beginning part of December of 2017 as we were approaching like the very height of the Bitcoin bull run. Bitcoin futures went live. They were approved and they went live, right? And so the moment that happened, the price, Bitcoin began just taking off. And maybe it was going to do that anyway. It could just be one of those things where it's like, there's enough momentum in the charts where it's just like, what will be the straw that breaks the camel's back? And maybe, a lot of times that stuff does happen, I do think, actually. But nonetheless, it was a factor. And it got the market all hyped up again, just another positive-sounding thing. Well, exchange-traded funds are actually an even bigger deal. Because, check this out. This is going to draw in so many more people and affect the supply and demand of Bitcoin. Because an exchange-traded fund is a fund that can be traded on exchanges, just like a stock. So you're going to bring in all of the normies out there, all the people that maybe even if they're aware of Bitcoin and crypto, but they don't want to delve into it, and it sounds scary, and you've got to go into all these weird platforms you've never heard of, like Binance and Coinbase and blah, blah, blah. And people there's so many people that don't want to do it because it's not really at the edge of their fingertips here. But with an ETF, you can actually get exposure to the asset class without having to do any of that. And so an ETF works like this. The fund provider owns the underlying asset. So to be clear, it is if you purchase the ETF, you don't own Bitcoin, right? And so the fund, it's designed to track the performance of Bitcoin and then sell shares into that fund, but to investors. And so, market participants buying the ETF, they're going to be very cognizant of the price of Bitcoin itself. And so it will have its own price. We'll see how closely it tracks to it, especially when you factor in that the ETF, you've got this whole additional expense. I don't know what the expense will be, but for the carbon credits, that's going to add to it. And so I would certainly expect the ETF to be selling at a premium relative to whatever the market price of Bitcoin is. But again, you're not going to own the actual asset. If you're doing that, it'll track to some degree closely, and who knows if it's going to... It depends. Here's the other thing, too. It depends on how many market participants there are, because if there's not a ton of liquidity or a ton of opportunity for participants to jump in, I would expect it to be wildly volatile, just like you saw with Spark token IOUs. Small markets, big volatility in very short order. And you already get a lot of volatility in crypto, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying the smaller the pool, the more volatility you're going to get, because it doesn't take that much money flowing into to move things around quite a bit here. And so this would be a big deal because there's a fortune to be made in this. If you're the first firm that gets approved for an ETF, you're going to make bank. And so Jay Clayton, I don't know what they're paying him or what the arrangement is, but presumably would be making bank, right? This would be, there's a reason that he is where he is right here. They clearly think he can help in a general sense with all things crypto here. And every single ETF, as John Deaton pointed out, ever proposed, brought to the SEC, has been swatted down under the supervision of Jay Clayton. And so is it going to be the case that the very first ETF ever approved ends up going to a firm for which Jay Clayton is an advisor after he left the SEC? which is why, again, John Deaton wrote, if Gensler's SEC gives One River approval, we operate in a completely corrupt system. So we'll see. And on the flip side, though, like the ETF thing, like I've always assumed this is something that would just happen, just like you had futures contracts a few years back, just a natural evolution. And very positive for crypto. And it's just a shame if it does benefit that asset over formerly with the SEC, Jay Clayton, because this is a good thing. Because understand, like this is better than future contracts for the crypto ecosphere, because like Bitcoin has to be held. That directly impacts supply and demand. Right? And there's already not that much Bitcoin available on the planet. Understand that there's already been, out of 21 million Bitcoin maximum supply, about 18.5 million of those Bitcoins have already been mined. And then you've got millions of them that have been lost, and millions more that are held in deep cold storage by institutions and all sorts of individuals that are very long-term oriented. And so at any given moment, I don't remember the exact number, so don't quote me, but typically maybe it's, whether it's a few million, whatever it may be, Bitcoin total, like that's all that's on the planet that's available for sale right now. A few million Bitcoin out of a max supply of 21 million, and you've already had, with barely any humans on the planet participating, you've already had the price run up to $65,000. And so if you're talking about having an ETF, and if it's One River or whoever else gets approved, there's all sorts of other exchanges. For instance, Gemini, they tried to have an ETF, they got swatted down. If you're going to hold that much more Bitcoin, that's going to absolutely affect supply and demand dynamics. That like we want that though. We want more adoption. And so even people purchasing into the fund, it directly improves the adoption of actual cryptocurrency. And I still think you will see ETFs for other coins in the future, XRP included, because why the hell not? Why would that not happen in the future? And it's just a part of the natural evolution of this thing. Because not everybody wants to participate in markets the same ways. There's a reason that people go to hedge funds, that they don't have to deal with getting the exposure to the asset class themselves. Not in terms of like actually taking possession of the cryptocurrencies themselves. They can just, in this case, have a fund that is basically representative of it. So this is actually functionally a big deal, and it would be a good thing for this to happen for the crypto space. But what the hell? What the hell are you doing there, Jake? Like, what functionally, what is going on here? Oh, it's ridiculous. And then I wanted to highlight this too on this topic of the greenness of all these coins, which One River seems to be very aware of. Like, this is it. If you're going to be in propping up Bitcoin, you better be aware that people are going to come after you for the energy hogness of it. And so they feel like they've got their rear sides covered clearly. And so I do think it's really primarily more so for the optics than anything else. But take a look at this headline from CoinDesk. Kevin O'Leary doubles down on green Bitcoin. So this is Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank fame. Leading corporations are reluctant to add crypto to their balance sheets because of environmental, social, and corporate governance issues. Entrepreneur and Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary said during CoinDesk's Consensus 2021 conference on Monday. Less than 1% of institutions globally actually carry crypto as an asset class, he noted. And for that to change, miners need to prove their coins are created sustainably, O'Leary said. And just to be clear here, think about this. What was I just citing about how little Bitcoin is left? And he's saying that even though institutions, obviously, I think most people agree at this point, they led the beginning of this particular bull run, which was the first time in history. Before this, it was really retailers that were leading. Think about this. You're talking about almost no Bitcoin left for sale today, right? And less than 1% of institutions globally actually carry it. And so for people, because Bitcoin's been around 12 years, to the people that if you're jumping in now, you think you're late to the party, I got news for you. You are early to the party. In fact, you're so early, it is rude for you to be here. Like, everybody's still prepping for the party. Why you got to show up early? Have some class, damn it. So look at it, less than 1% of institutions. Yes, you are absolutely early to the party. And here's a quote from Mr. O'Leary. Most of these institutions have both ethics and sustainability committees that filter offerings before they're allocated on the investment committee. They're not just singling out crypto, he said. We're at the nascent beginning of this interest. Bitcoin is an asset that is here to stay. And now it's got to get in sync with what institutions want before they buy, right? And so frankly, I don't know. It's hard. I mean, you never know for sure what's in the hearts and minds of people, right? But I gotta think like a lot of this is just, it's the optics of it, right? Wouldn't you think that? And as far as the Bitcoin needing to be sustainable to be purchased, I'm just sitting here thinking, my gosh, how could it not be for the optics that you're concerned about? Because even if you're only purchasing the Bitcoin that was say mined sustainably, if you can even actually track that, you show me how you're doing it and maybe okay. But even if you can do that, you're propping up a system where the rest of it is not. And so you're propping that up. And so to me, it just doesn't make any sense. It's like, if you want to get in crypto, don't pretend like you're all holy when you're propping up something that functionally is an energy hog compared to other cryptocurrencies out there like XRP, for example. So there we go. So I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. Are you surprised by any of this stuff, though, and what's happening with Jay Clayton here? How much is he going to benefit from all this? Because, again, there's no way that we're going to know, the inner workings of his arrangement as an advisor. But is any of this surprising? So let's just see. Let's see if this gets approval. Now, I am expecting that an ETF is going to get approved under Gensler, but I swear, if it is this particular one, that'll be a fun video to make. That'll be a fun Moon Lambo hot jam, if that happens. But we shall see. So, I don't know, guys. You let me know, please drop a comment below. I do want to know what you think. Like, are you surprised by this? Does it mean anything to you? What do you think? Just on anything talked about in this video, or anything not, including what you had for breakfast. You can just tell me all sorts of random crap. I don't care. I'm just happy to have you here. I'm not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Lambo.